Welcome to Our Scars Speak. My name is Christina Miner. I'm the host of this podcast. And before we begin, I want to give a disclaimer that we are not trying to be any type of professionals to give you any type of advice about your treatment plan. We want you to definitely seek your treatment plan from your medical and mental health professionals or whomever you have in your life that's treating you for your diagnosis. We're just merely here to encourage and to share our story. So we are not being held liable for anything that is shared tonight. And without further ado, today I would love to welcome Jacqueline Evans. I met her from, who was it? Peggy Miller.
Mm-hmm.
Peggy Miller from Male Breast Cancer Happens.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since that, you're the type of person you meet you and it's just like your instant family. It's like you don't meet a stranger. You just love on people. And I'm just so excited to have you on tonight so people can hear your story and all the great things you're doing. So thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me, Christina.
And I'm sorry
You're
about
my sister now.
yes, definitely sisters now. Sorry about the complications. I don't know what's going on with Facebook and all this connection, like technology and I'm doing the best I can. But before we get into your story, I would love for you to tell the audience who Jacqueline is. Just describe who you are outside of all these great things that you're doing and outside of all your titles. Who are you?
I'm a wife. I'm
Okay.
a mother of twins who are 20, they'll be 27 this year.
Wow.
I'm a grandmother. Um, I Before my journey, I was a paralegal. So I still, you know, have the knowledge of the legal system, the laws, and all that. But um, I am a child of the King, which allows me to go through whatever is allowed to be my portion in this hour. So
I love it. I love it. Yes, I know that's definitely an area that we have in common outside of breast cancer is that who we serve.
yes.
And we clicked like instantly just talking about how good he is in our lives. And so, yeah, feel free to share whatever you need to share, which I know you're not going to hold back about about who you are. So yes, I didn't know. I don't know how I missed that you had twins. I didn't know you had twins. Wow.
Yeah.
And you're paralegal. I think I do remember the paralegal part, but the twins,
Mhm.
yeah, I missed that one. So Jacqueline, before you had breast cancer, of course, like I spoke with you before, I love to hear what life was like before breast cancer. Like what was going on in your life? You can go back as however far you want to go back to tell a little bit about yourself, but what was life like for you before you even
Um,
got the diagnosis?
Life back in 2000, I would say 18, 17. I was, like I said, my trade is paralegal, so I was
Mhm.
working in a law firm. Actually, this law firm that I was working in, we dealt with class action suits as far as like medical prescriptions, that kind of thing. So it was just going back and forth to work, working in ministry, and doing the regular things that I do as a wife and a mother, before I realized, that I was gonna have to go through this.
Wow.
So back in 2000 2018, I hadn't had a mammogram,
Okay.
and it was time for me to have one. But I had went to my gynecologist
Mhm.
like in October, September, October, and they do breast exams, and there was nothing there. But I started feeling something in, I would say, about November.
Okay.
And so I kept kind of brushed it off. And I was like, well, maybe it's the deodorant, maybe
Mhm.
it's, what I'm washing my clothes in, or, just brushing it off. So I just happened to, I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and get with my history.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and get a mammogram. So I scheduled my mammogram, and it just so happened that it was fell on my daughter's birthday in 2018. And so, yeah, that was the beginning.
So in 2018, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you?
2018, I was 58.
Okay, so you're 58, 2018. And the other question is, did you have any knowledge of breast cancer? So before I asked about that, had you been going to get your routine mammograms done since you were in your 40s?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
I had like it was a one point, I think it was like in 2004, that there was a calcium, when I took a mammogram, there was a calcium deposit they found. And every time they saw that, it flagged it.
Right.
So the surgeon was like, no, we're going to just go ahead and remove this. And it just so happened that removing that, and then they put the tag in it, and so removing that, it was the same breast that the lump was found in.
Oh, and so they found the calcification in 2014?
No, it was
No.
2000. It had to be about 2007 or 8, something like that.
Okay, 2007, 8, they found a calcification and then they biopsied it, but they put the clip in just to mark it to
Just
make
to mark
sure.
where.
Yeah, because sometimes calcifications like mine, they had DCIS in it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, so calcifications, depending on what it looks like, they usually will take it out just to check it. And sometimes a distinct pattern they know is cancer, and sometimes it may not have a distinct pattern, but they do a biopsy just to be on the safe side, because DCIS sometimes starts out as a calcification.
Okay.
Which
See,
is,
I learned something new
yeah.
too.
So okay, so you go, you're getting the man, but you family history. Did you have any family history of breast cancer or any other cancers, and had anyone
Well,
gotten genetic
there's
testing?
family history of breast cancer in my family.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have several cousins that's on my dad's side that has had breast cancer, and those are my first cousins. And so, and I have one of my dad's sisters had breast cancer, and it was one of her daughters that had breast cancer that ultimately died of complications of it.
Wow. Okay. So there was history, but no one had a gene test. Did anyone have gene?
Well, when I got was diagnosed, I had genetic testing.
Okay.
But the genetic testing that I had was just for it was just for the family,
Okay.
to see if it was in your DNA that you would
Mm-hmm.
get. And it came out negative. So, and I'm like, it's on both sides, because it was on my mom's side too,
Right.
where I had a great aunt that had it, and I have a younger cousin that had breast cancer, ended up going to her kidney, and then she had some other issues that
Right.
came along with it. So I just knew, like, okay, it's family. But
Right.
they said no, it was not family.
Now, see, that's interesting because some doctors, they only do the BRCA1 and BRCA2 testing, but there's a whole nother panel in conjunction with that some doctors don't do. And like my doctor, I had it done. I'm negative for a gene, but she told me I had to come back like 7 years after the last test to get retested because the panel changes.
Oh, okay, okay.
So she
No,
said the gene may not be
I did
found in
BRCA 1 and the BRCA 2
Mhm.
genetic testing when I went for this time around.
Okay.
I went to a organization that allows you to have a second opinion, and the breast doctor, oncologist doctor, is with the World Health Organization. So she read all of my history from the first time and
Mhm.
up until the current time and said, well, everything that was done, I would have done that way. She said, but I want you to do the BRCA1 and BRCA2 testing so we can see if the cell itself is mutating.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. Yeah, because that much cancer, you would think that, but sometimes it's just not. It's just
Yeah.
it's so interesting how that happens. So you go to the GYN, you felt that it was fine, and then you went back to get your mammogram done. And it was your daughter's birthday. And so what happened then?
So a few days after that, then I got a call from the nurse navigator, and she said, we want you to come in and have a do an ultrasound and do the biopsy. So I said, okay. So I went in, and I mean, God showed me the whole entire array that he was involved in everything, because this nurse navigator, she prayed with me.
Oh, wow.
She even before, when we found out that it ended up being triple negative, she had contacted the surgeon. They had the oncologist already set up, and so, and when she gave me the surgeon name, her name was Jacqueline. I was like, okay, Lord, I see you in this. So this is
Wow.
not a journey that I'm walking by myself.
Right.
This is an actual journey that I'm walking with God for pink, but I didn't know it was for pink at that time. So, but now I know. But yeah, so we went through the biopsy. A few days later, I got the call saying it was triple negative, and that I need to go ahead and see the surgeon and see the my oncologist. And so when I went to see the surgeon, she's like, um, she said, well, you got two options. You can have the breast removed, but I think because of the genetic testing, when it came back, she came back and said, no, we can just do a lumpectomy.
Okay.
And so then I went to the oncologist, and then he's like, well, and at that time, there was a whole lot of things going on in my life. I'm a only child. My mom was in Milwaukee living by herself, and she realized that she was getting some of dementia, some forms of Alzheimer's. So at that point, she's like, well, I think I can't do this any longer. We can see if we can sell the house, and then I'll move down there with you guys. And so it just happened. I told my oncologist, I said, well, I need to make sure mom's house is sold before I get her moved down here before treatment start. And so he's like, okay. And so we sold the house like in February, the beginning of February. And so we moved her down, and treatment began February to the end of February.
Okay. And that was 2019 or
2019.
2019. Okay. So the treatment started in February. And before treatment, did they tell you stage or grade of the tumor that they found? Did you ever feel anything?
It was stage 2.
Okay.
It was stage 2. And I think it was like a 3 in the grade.
Grade, as far as how fast it was growing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it only goes up to 3. So,
but this thing had grown fast for it to show up in October or November, and then be,
yeah.
and
So
I just went to the oncologist.
did you feel, I know you said you felt different, but did you actually feel the lump?
Yes, I felt the lump, and it was on the outer quarters of my breast. So yeah, you will always feel it, like, and it was like achy.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, let me get this checked out.
Okay. Wow. But before, it wasn't there. like
No, it
you went
wasn't.
to the
Oh,
doctor. Yeah, that's always the scary part because the thing about it takes years and years for it to even develop into an actual tumor that they can see. So it's just interesting how fast it can grow to that point, how it can speed up or slow down or
yeah.
however. So you go through the treatment. And so what exactly was your treatment plan? I heard you say that they could do the lumpectomy, but did you have to go through chemo or
Yeah, I
radiation?
went through chemo. They call it the Red Devil.
Yeah, I
The
heard of that one.
tox. Yeah. So I had three. I had 3 to 4 months of IV chemo,
Oh, wow.
and then after chemo, I had the surgery. And like I said, God was just showing me that he was with me the entire time, because when I went into surgery, I was in room 7. I was like, okay, God, this is the
Number of
number of
completion.
completion, right? So he was just, I mean, he was just showing me different things. And I would look at the clock in my car and it would have my birthday 423 in it,
Wow.
and so he was, I mean, he was just letting me know that I was in his hands,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
still in his hand because he's still showing me, you know.
Wow.
So after after surgery, I went through radiation,
Mm, okay.
and I had about, I think it was about 2 months of radiation,
Hmm.
and then 6 months of oral chemo pills.
Okay. So you didn't finish your treatment then, as far as active treatment on that level until what, 2020?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
2020 is like the middle of 2020, like May or something like that.
Okay.
2020.
So you go through that. Is there anything that you want people to know about treatment, like how it makes you feel? Well, how did it make you feel during that time? I know you definitely said that God was showing you, and from what I'm hearing, obviously your faith was number one, and that's how you got through.
Right,
Um,
right.
and it's amazing how sovereign he is because he'll show you little glimpses like numbers, just something that you and him relate to that's like, yep,
Yeah.
I still got you. I still got you. You're not by yourself. But through that, did you end up getting into any type of groups, or did how is your support system and how is
Well,
your
I had my support system was and is still strong.
Mhm.
I had people behind me. My church was behind me, because um I was a minister in the church. So, they made sure that I didn't have to do anything during the time of treatment, or, I mean, even though I wanted to, it's like,
Right.
I can't, y'all need to let me do something. But they's like, no, just rest, just go through your treatment. Um, Treatment with me was totally different.
Okay.
I were more so fatigued than the sick,
Mm.
where there were people, women that came in, and other people that, men that came in that had different, maybe even the same um, treatment, and it didn't phase me like that
Mhm.
because well, for one thing, my oncologist says you fit, you didn't have a whole lot of side issues, you
Mhm.
know, so you'll be fine going through. And so like I said, when I was going through chemo, my prayer was, God, remove any side effects, whatever, that will try to and allow the medicine to do exactly what it was
Right.
created to do. And so, like I said, I wasn't nauseous, I wasn't throwing up, my appetite was okay. I wasn't eating the way that I was eating,
Right.
but was eating, you know. So as far as tiredness, when my body says shut down, I have to shut down.
Right. Right.
Oh,
Did you have any memory issues? I know a lot of people say that their
oh
memory.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, things that you talk about, they be going down the street. Definitely going down the street. And so now I use my phone a lot.
Right.
Like I was like,
Oh,
I know that person name in a
huh.
movie or something. And so then I look,
Okay.
that's it, you know. So yeah, memory loss is one of the things that are part of chemo, that
Part of your
chemo
chemo.
fog.
Yeah. And now they're even finding out even more. Like it's part of the chemo itself. And then it's also part of the shock and the trauma of just hearing that we have breast cancer. And
Right.
speaking of that, because I know you got diagnosed twice, correct?
Right. I'm going through it
Okay.
again.
So let me ask you a question to back up a little bit. When you heard that you had breast cancer at that point back in 2018, what was your initial response? Like how did you react to that, hearing those words?
Well, my initial response was, God got this. The reason why, because back in 2017, I was part of a ministry, and one of the ministers came up to me and said, God is telling me that you're getting ready to go through something that's
Mhm.
going to test your faith. And so I was like, okay, nothing was up. I was healthy. I was, fine. I had a job. My family was fine and everything. So I was like, okay. So then when this came, I was like,
Yeah.
this is the faith walk right here.
Hmm.
So when it came, I was like, no, God got this. And
Yes.
then he began to show me all the signs that he was a part of this.
Right.
I began to God also told me that um my healing was in my sound. And I've
Mm.
always wanted to blow the shofar. And so during the nighttime, just before prayer or even after prayer, I would go outside. I would pray, and then I would go outside and blow my shofar in front of my house and back of my house. And so it was in my sound. And so I'm still blowing my shofar even in the midst of doing the second time.
Right. And for those who do not know, can you explain what the shofar is?
Okay, I'm gonna go get it.
Go get it for them.
Give me my shofar. Well, the shofar is what the priests in the Jewish customs blow when there's a celebration, war, message, any message. And so when God says it's in my sound, this is, well, the first shofar about was about this.
Yeah.
But this one, I was like, and everything that I've learned
Hmm.
with this was taught by God. I didn't do no training. I was like, Lord, how can I blow that? I ain't never blew a shofar before,
Hmm.
but blow real quick here.
Yeah, you can demonstrate. Because a lot of people, it's very biblical. And so when you mention it, I was like, oh, do you have one? Can't hear it. We heard it a little bit. Just there you go. We heard it just a little bit. It's not picking up the sound too much. We heard it a little bit though. But yeah, that's beautiful.
So that was comforting,
Yeah.
to be able to blow. And so I took um that anointing, that presence with me every time I went into the treatment center.
Mm-hmm.
And so people would, I when I'm there, I mean, I got my music in
Mm-hmm.
and I'm praying the whole entire time, not for myself, but for the ones that
People with
enter
you.
in and exit out
Right.
of the treatment center. And so that has been my posture
Mm-hmm.
since this journey has started.
Okay. So 2020, go through all your treatment. They declare you as no evidence of disease, I'm supposing.
Yeah.
And so what happens next?
So I go, what, 4.5 years
Mm-hmm.
free from cancer free. Well, I still say I'm cancer free,
Right.
but okay.
Yeah, I know.
Because that's what God said. So
Yeah.
um so I go 4.5 years, and in January of 23,
Mm-hmm.
I was getting in my car, getting out my car, getting groceries out, and I kind of was trying to pull the door, and I hit that same spot.
Mm.
So I'm like, So I said, I called the surgeon and I said, well, I caused some trauma to, the same spot where I had the surgery at. So I think I needed to get it checked out. She said, come on, we'll do an ultrasound. And so I did the ultrasound in the office. She's like, well, I want to send you to the hospital to get an ultrasound done. She said, I think it's just a hematoma.
Yeah, the
But
hematoma from like maybe where you hit
yeah,
it.
from the trauma of closing. And so she said, but I want to make sure.
Right.
So when I went, they said, yeah, it's a possible hematoma and some scar tissue. And so they said for me to come back in 3 months.
Mm.
So 3 months went past, which was around April. So I went back in April, and then they wanted to do the biopsy.
Mm.
So then the biopsy um, showed that it was the same thing.
Wow.
And so then I had to do the PET scans and the MRIs, and then there's all this other, there's CAT scans, all this other stuff came into to play. So now what they diagnose is triple negative, but it has spread to other areas of my body.
Mm-hmm.
Which like I said, that's their diagnosis.
Right.
Stage 4.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's supposed to be in my bone,
Mm-hmm.
and it's my liver shows some spots, and my lungs show some spots.
Mm-hmm.
So, but look, I blow this shofar, not like anything wrong with my lungs. When I went to the second opinion,
Mm-hmm.
um, the nurse practitioner was like, to look at you, you don't look like nothing wrong with you. I was like, well, ain't nothing wrong with me. You know what I mean? I call myself the first fruit of pink is my power color.
Yeah.
So
That is so let me ask you a question. In with the first diagnosis, I know it was triple negative stage 2. Did they didn't do any other type of scans because it was localized, so that's why they didn't do like the PET scan
right.
and all of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so this time, just to be on the safe side, they wanted to make sure to scan
Right.
you?
They
Okay.
scan the whole body. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I don't blame you because sometimes people like, well, you got no, we do. We listen to our doctors. We use wisdom because God gave us doctors for a
Right.
reason. But at the same time, we got to hold on to that faith.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people, and Christianity isn't for everyone. Some people have other things, but my thing, you need to hold on to something
Right.
to get through because it can be difficult. It can be very, very difficult, especially when we go back and forth to the doctor. And you were an encouragement to me. And I didn't even know what all you were going through this second time. And you had
Mm-hmm.
seen something I posted, and you give back even in the midst of you going through. And that's something to be said about your character, which I appreciate, and I'm sure so many other people appreciate. So, with this diagnosis, you already obviously found out. So now you're in treatment again.
Yes, I'm in treatment again.
Okay, and so you're in active treatment right now and you're doing chemo, or
I'm
are you
doing
doing immunotherapy?
no. Well, they started me with immunotherapy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think what it was. I don't think it was effective.
Okay.
So they switched. They switched it.
Okay.
It was affected on one part, but then the
Mm-hmm.
other part it was not showing any signs. So they, had room to switch it. So my oncologist was like, well, we need to change. I was like, but I already knew
Mm-hmm.
because I'm my best advocate.
Oh
I
yeah,
know
we
my
are
body,
for
so
sure.
I'm going to tell you, exactly before you even speak it out your mouth what we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I already know we're gonna change. We're gonna change
Yeah.
the meds, you
Yeah.
know. So we changed the meds. I've been on, I think that on this roller coaster ride
Mm-hmm.
with my white blood cells because my white blood cells, the chemo medicine mess with your white blood cell count. Mine's dropped real low, and so they had to give me a shot to boost it up to be
Okay.
able to give me the treatment. But the way I look at, because I always say it's all about how you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the white blood cells go down and I can't get treatment, I'm like, that's God letting me know that he's giving my body a break.
Yeah.
So um when when they give me the shot, I mean it goes like up like the very next day and they give
Wow.
me treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And so this past week, Thanksgiving week, I usually go on Thursday, but I
Mm-hmm.
went on Wednesday. And they tested my blood, and then the week before that, my red blood cells was low. So I was like,
Oh,
because I ain't eating nothing, no beef or nothing to boost the. So I said, well, I want a good hamburger. So I went and got
plant
me.
based. Are you plant based? For some
Mm,
reason, I thought you were plant based.
mm-mm.
Okay, go ahead.
I do chicken. I was doing chicken, turkey, and fish.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay.
So, but since I increase,
Right.
I incorporated a little beef in my diet,
Mm-hmm.
just to get. So it went up. So, Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I went to the oncologist. They tested my blood. My blood was low.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't get treatment last week. So I said I met my regular oncologist wasn't there, but the nurse practitioner, and I told everybody know me. I was like, I don't speak negative. If you ain't up here with my faith, then you can't be on my team. So the nurse practitioner, I said, well, hey, since we know that this medicine messes with my white blood cells, can we, the day before treatment, I come in, give blood, if it's low, then you give me the shot, then I'll be on my regular regimen.
Right.
And so she's like, yeah, that's a good idea. I was like, yeah. So, because we already know this now. This
Right.
is like that would have been the third week. So during the second week, it went down. They gave me the shot. I came back that Friday and I got treatment.
Okay.
So I'm really I tell everybody, you got to be your best advocate. You know your body, and you got to,
Yeah.
speak up for yourself. Just don't allow them to say anything or that you don't agree with, and
Right.
just go, just go with it. So no,
Have you
I'm my
tried
best advocate.
have you tried any trials or anything, or there aren't, or
Well,
where would
we
you list
looked
that?
at some trials because my oncologist was like, well, let's see what kind of trials. But we looked at some trials. There was none being offered in this area. So in
Wow.
Ohio, yeah. And so I guess that was in this area that was for my particular situation.
Okay. So let me ask you a question about that, because I know I work sometimes I listen to Touch, the other
Yeah, I do
organization.
too. Mm-hmm.
But if the trial is not being done in your area, do you have the ability, as far as insurance wise, to travel to like the neighboring state or wherever the trial is being given? Or is there a criteria that you have to be within that particular state?
Well, that right there, I really don't know.
Hmm.
I haven't really looked into it like that because I think Indianapolis had a trial that I could possibly be incorporated in, but um, I really don't know if that would have been feasible for my
For
insurance
you.
company.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because it's always so much with the insurance, and then they
Yeah,
have criteria for these trials. Like, and if you don't meet the criteria, then you
right,
can't participate in it. Like,
right.
if
I
you're
think a lot of the trials, the criteria is like your first time.
yeah.
Like if you're in metastasize or in a second time, then there's not much for you to, but I don't know, I might need to
Well,
contact.
there's so yeah, there's a lot of different ones, because I know even for DCIS there was one, but I didn't qualify because I was already a grade 3. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
had to be a grade 1 or grade 2, and I was already a
Right,
grade 3. So my chances of a secondary cancer in the near future or later down the road is higher. So I'm higher risk for another breast cancer, another cancer. So they just knocked me right on out of the.
right, right.
So it's like always these criterias with it. And then, like you said, sometimes insurance is involved, sometimes it's not. It just depends on how they have it written up. But that was the first time I ever heard about like not in your area, because I thought maybe you could still go to wherever they're doing it, or correspond. That's interesting, but I guess it just depends on the trial and how it's written up.
Yeah,
So you're going through this now, far as treatment, and you still got your faith, you still believe in God, and that is your right. And I'm loving it because you have such a positive attitude. And which will get me to now, when did you get the vision for your organization? Because I know you have a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and I'll let you explain. But when did that happen? Take us through what even got you to the point of like, I need to do this. Because I heard you say that, you didn't know at the time, but then, obviously God told you was it during the first diagnosis
it was
or
doing the first
second one?
diagnosis.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'll let you explain that.
So during the first diagnosis, um, I believe it was like around towards the end. And one morning, early morning, God woke me up and said, go to your computer. I'm like, for what? But my daughters, to go back, my daughters had did well, pretty much after the year that I was getting ready to finish, they had did a we did a photo shoot, like a girls'
Okay.
photo shoot with my daughters and my granddaughter. And so they had t-shirts, and the t-shirts said pink is my power color. And so, and their t-shirts, mine was white with the pink lips, and the lettering it was in, which is my logo here.
Right.
And the lettering was in black. But my daughter's t-shirts and my granddaughter t-shirt said, her fight is my fight.
Oh.
So we did that. And so after that, God was dealing with me with, because there's not really a whole lot of organizations with African American women, you know. Yeah, we have the Pink Good Girls, and we have the Susan G. Colemans, and a lot of the other entities. It wasn't until I got into the arena where with the nonprofits that I've seen organizations like ours, and not really like ours, but I was like, okay, so everybody can do services for their people. I said, but where's the ones that look like us? And so I went downstairs. He said, I want you to call it this. And that's when and so I did all the paperwork, with the state, with no help. Everything went right through. I'm like, oh, okay. So I did the 501(c). We just did that last year. Was it last year or this year? This year.
Okay.
In June. And that went through. And so what I was saying, like the services, like daycare, because I'm going through breast cancer. And then you have single moms, and you have moms that you have women that are found married. Well, I have my mom. She has dementia. I'm the only child, so pretty much I'm the only one that she's going to allow to help her.
Right.
So I'm dealing with that, and then my husband, his medical, he had issues with his back and his heart. So he had back-to-back medical issues, dealing with that. So we kind of was all going through at the same time.
Right.
So I'm like, we need somebody maybe to do errands. You might need respite, not only for the caregiver, but what about respite for the survivor, the
Right.
thriver, so that's why God allowed me to create this. And then we want to talk about meal prep and getting active, physical, because I'm getting ready to go back to my trainer.
Okay.
And so I was like, you got to be soft on me now, because, I'm going through chemo. So I don't know how that's going to react with it. But, and his wife is a chef. So I got the chef, and she knows about herbs and what's good for the body. And so I got all these entities that I'm connected to. Plus, we want to educate.
Right.
It's all about educating it. And it's not because we don't know. There's a lot of us that are educated. And it ain't because we don't have insurance. There's a lot of us that has perfect insurance. We educated. It's just that it's something that happened to us. And so we need as a people, we need to know what to look for, what when you're going through. I mean, there's ladies that I've connected with. They say, I just need somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
There's other organizations that have support groups, and they said, well, the African American women won't say nothing because there's nobody here that look like them.
Yeah. It, it
So
it definitely happens across the board. Yeah. Especially
so
with African American women. I've seen it in groups, and yeah.
and then a lot of us don't know our history behind. We
Mm-hmm.
don't know that grandma had breast cancer, you know,
Because it wasn't
or
talked
it's
about.
on the way. Yeah.
Right.
It was down in our lineage. We don't know that. So we need to be able to ask questions when we go to our doctor's appointment, and not just allow the doctors to tell us anything. Do our own research before we, get to that point. So there's some things that I wanted to bring into the high schools, because breast cancer is affecting young women now,
Yeah, in their
like
teens. Yeah.
20s and teens.
Yeah.
You never heard of that before. And you look at it, and I'm like, so we have all these cancers. Is it the pesticides? Is it the environmental things that's going on? Is it in our water? What is it
Mm-hmm.
that is causing so much? And we're talking about things that chemo is not fighting.
Right. Yeah.
So, I'm even looking into like some of the holistic things, like
Mm-hmm.
the sea moss and the sour sops and the um apricot seeds, and some of the black seed oils, and because I mean, when it comes down to it, you want to be healthy regardless.
Right.
Because I mean, chemo takes everything out of you.
Mm.
So you got to put it back in. How you going to get it? That's why my body was fatigued. I was literally running from from June to, I say, the middle of November. I think my last event was the Black and White Cancer Ball, and that was the 4th of November. And then once that was over, my body was like, shh. So I had to sit down, and I could not get any energy.
Right.
Not until like last week.
Yeah.
I couldn't get any energy. So now I'm trying to recuperate
Mm-hmm.
from the things that has been taken away.
Wow. You were running because I paid attention to your Facebook and I was like, she is moving. Yes. Wow. So, what is the full name for people who do not know? What's the full name of your organization?
Pink is my power color, African American Women's Breast Cancer Organization.
Okay.
Our website is P.I.M.P-C, which is our acronyms, which stands for Pink is my power color. So you can contact us through social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook. We have a podcast. We have yet to begin it again, but it's coming up. Like I said, we've been running so much that
Right.
we had to kind of walk away from some things, but we're getting ready to rekindle that podcast. There's some other things that's coming up for Pink. Just Pink is the way I want Pink to be is like a household name.
Mm-hmm.
I recently, I've always said that how many founders or CEOs will walk personally with you through your journey?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I do. And I'm going through now, and I will still walk personally with you through your journey, because I realize it's all about how you go through.
Yep.
It's all about what you're confessing out of this, because the power of life and death is in your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to watch what you say, because there's sometimes, look, my doctor learned, because he came in the second time when he found out that it was back. And he came in like, I said, Doc, now you know me, we not gonna do that. I said, the same God I served that delivered me out of the hands of the enemy the first time is the same God I serve now. And so I said, so your faith got to meet my faith right here. And so I had to say that to him a couple of times, because I know he was feeling, I
Right.
know, you
Right.
know. And so, but then he went to India to visit his parents and came back. And I said, "Oh, Doc, how was your time with your parents?" He's like, "It was good. You know, they're up in age and they have their little sicknesses." And I said, "Well, we hope we will get that age." And he's like, "Ain't no hoping. We
Ah!
gonna get past that age." I was like, "Now you're talking. You put me in check." So, that lets me know that whatever I set in my atmosphere
Right.
comes out to be, that positive thing. And so I take that with me everywhere I go, no matter where it is. Um, I be in the treatment center, and they like the lady would come and say, there's something special about you. And I said, well, thank you, but it's all to him.
Mm-hmm.
I give him all the glory. He's
Yeah.
the reason why I'm still here.
Right.
He's the reason that I got strength and breath in my body to be able to do pink is my power color, or P.I.M.P-C. And
That's
so,
beautiful.
I don't take it for granted. I
Right.
take it as an honor. It's an honor for me to serve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a servant. It's an honor for me to give. I'm a giver. So, and it
Wow.
doesn't matter who I meet.
Right. So what, before we get into your word and your song, what are some of the services distinctively that you offer through the organization? I know you said the podcast, and so do you do, like, I know you were talking about even like if someone needed to have like respite, are those services still, are they in operation now, or is it something that's coming in the future?
Well, those services are in operation now. We have like light meal prepping.
Okay.
Um, we
Oh,
have a light housekeeping. We have I'm connected with a local beauty college. Excuse me. Connected with a local beauty college, which is Destiny's Beauty Academy, and they have partnered with me to supply any wigs that I need.
okay.
So we there's a lot of collaborations going on through the process of getting our organizations things together. We partner with Mercedes-Benz here in Cincinnati, and they are willing to take our clients to and from appointments.
Mhm.
Um, so we have people that's trying to assist us, but
Right.
it doesn't stop with them. We still need the donations. We still, it takes funding to be able to do the 501(c). I mean, we would love to go outside of the Cincinnati area.
Right.
We have clients that have contacted us that, just need uplifting, encouraging,
Mhm.
and they are in other states, so we're getting out of there.
Right.
The word is getting out. We're trying to incorporate some other things that, as far as legality things that may come up during the process of your journey,
Right.
so you can get some help. So we're working on a lot. We got a lot of things going on.
Beautiful. That's a lot right there. And I mean, just the fact that you're helping, because some people try to start so big and they forget about the local community. So even though you're starting, with your local community and then eventually branch out, or you are branching out, but even further, is good because it can help you get the groundwork within the look. Because sometimes the local community is in worse shape,
Yeah.
just around us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, especially the transportation, that's huge.
That's
That's
huge.
huge.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people who have through Medicaid and Medicare, but their transportation is good, but it ain't always the best. Sometimes
Yeah.
the
They dropped
scheduling
the
is a
ball
little
a
rough.
lot. Yeah.
It's a little
Yeah.
rough. So
Yeah.
to have that as a backup for someone is a good thing so that they can get to their appointments. And then, like you said, the education piece to teach people how to advocate for themselves. Because so many
Right.
times they may have the knowledge, but not really have anyone to encourage them to fight for what you think you need for your own, take in consideration what the doctors are saying. But sometimes, like you said, we know our bodies
Right.
and to fight for that. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's beautiful. Well, you had a song, and we got to remember it. She is a Warrior
The
by
warrior.
Alita. And can you explain why you chose that particular song for your reel?
Well, the reason why I chose that one, because I believe it was not up until this journey, this time, that I realized I am a warrior. I look at when I hear that song, I think of the Warrior King, the movie,
Uh-huh.
and you had I forgot her name. What's her name?
I forgot. I'm bad.
What's
I'm bad with stuff like that. Yeah, I forgot. But
Well,
anybody out there on
anyway,
Facebook now? But
you have her as the warrior. She
oh
was the head
gosh.
top warrior. Look, I
Was it
go to
was it Davis?
yeah,
Viola?
Viola Davis.
Yep.
Yes, that's her. Yep. Good, good, good. So there's so many obstacles in the journey that you have to conquer.
Mm,
And so I believe I'm conquering, not even by myself though. I'm conquering with a group of women that is conquering also. So that song just radiates in my spirit when it comes to a warrior, when it comes to victorious. I'm
mm,
victorious. I'm more than a conqueror. So I'm like, okay, I see myself as a
right.
warrior. I see myself as a warrior. And my board, I just want to mention this. My board, most of them have um conquer cancer themselves.
Mm,
I have one board member that is a paraplegic.
mm,
Just happened to just within the last, I say, 6 years, maybe. She hasn't always been.
right.
She got a hold to a bacteria, it got in her spine, and that's that's her journey right now.
Mm,
And even in that journey, she's trying to learn herself.
mm-hmm.
Because I always said, once you go through something, you have to kind of recreate yourself. So I look at pink as my power color as a way that God is recreating myself
Mm-hmm.
in this region. And so I have another board member who had colon cancer.
Mm,
She's a thriver. You know, I have another board member who's and works with me. She had thyroid cancer. We all conquerors. So,
right.
all of our all of our messages are is positive.
Mm-hmm.
We are all warriors, so, and we all she, so.
Yeah, y'all are. So what's one word that you could leave with the audience that will encourage them? Like maybe they have a wound that is fresh and it's very difficult for them to look at, whether it's mental or physical. Maybe they just got diagnosed, or maybe they have a scar that they see every day and it's hard to even look at that scar. What's a word of encouragement, one word that you can think of to leave the audience with that'll give them some hope, and why you chose that word?
My one word, because when you said it, it was beauty.
Mm.
Even though it has a story behind it, always find the beauty in it.
Mm.
And so when you're looking at a scar, I have a sister who had a double mastectomy that I'm walking with.
Mm-hmm.
And so she asked me one day, I went over, I took her some vegetable soup, and she asked me one day, she said, I need you to look at something. I said, okay. And so she showed me her scar.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, I'm curious because it's swollen and um, I think it looks, but it was fresh.
Mm.
So it takes time for, the air, the atmosphere to hit it and for it to heal. But I told her, I said, listen, if you're not comfortable with it, call your doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but it looks well to me.
Right.
I said, but if you're not comfortable with it, you need to
Mm-hmm.
call your doctor. So even out of your scars or whatever it might be, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you survived, just look at the beauty of it.
Mm.
And it's going to be hard at first. But I mean, beauty, what the word said that he would give you beauty for ashes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's just your ashes right now.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually you'll begin to love it, love yourself. And I love the way that you when you and brought out the tattooing of scars. I'm like, that is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's absolutely beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't have even thought about anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's beauty in it. Beauty in
It's
all,
beauty.
in the what we deem to be the negative and ugly times. There's still beauty within it. We might can't see it then,
Right.
but if we allow God to show us,
Mm-hmm. It's
we can.
all about the healing process.
Mm-hmm.
It's not saying the healing of your body, but
Right.
you got to heal.
Our
Your
mind.
mind got to be healed because you think of it a certain way. So you got to go through the process of healing, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a process. And your process may not be like my process,
Right.
but it's all a process, and we got to allow it to be healed the way that God ordained it to be healed.
Right. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Is there anything else that you want to share about yourself or about your organization or anything before I share with you?
Okay. Um, um, you not really. I think that might be it.
And I'm going to also put your Facebook handle and your website, all that'll be on in the description on the podcast, as well as YouTube and on Facebook. So, and I mean, of course they heard it, but I also like to do that now. So
Okay.
that will be there so
Okay.
people can find you. Well, what I have to say to you is that as you have talked, well, since I've known you not too long, but still it's like your family now. But as you were speaking, God just kept showing me David. And he just started showing me John, like people in the Bible that were his friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say friend of God is because from the time that he prepared you, something's coming. Throughout the whole process, he's shown you, I'm still here. I'm still here. Keep holding on to faith. Even it seems like you in your doctor's appointment, you kind of said something that you normally don't say, yet your doctor, who normally wouldn't say what he said it to you, and it gave you more encouragement. So I just appreciate the fact that you are allowing yourself to serve, even in the midst of your pain, because I'm sure there's times where things are painful, whether it's physical or mental or whatever the case may be, because every day is not always a good day. But right. At the same time, we still have our faith to get us through those days and get through the processes that we have to go through. And so I thank you for sharing in your transparency to also glorify your friendship. Not only he's your father, he's your friend. And I thank you for showing that, because it's a true testament of who he is in our lives. And your life, no matter whether some people may think, oh, wow, how is she so strong? Because of who you serve. It gives you the strength, and it gives you the strength to serve even in times where you don't feel like serving and you are a little tired, and he still gives you that strength, but you know yourself enough to like, okay, I need to pump the brakes. I need to take a break. But I just encourage you to continue to serve, continue to be that friend, and he's your friend. And because that just, it illuminates the friendship when the Bible talks about how John was his friend. You are really close when God is saying like, you're my friend. And he shows you secret things. And through those secret things, that's how your organization was birthed. So everything that you have done and everything that you're doing is just a testament of his glory. And I just pray for you that you will continue to hold your faith, which I know you will, but it's still good for us to pray for each other, because iron sharpeneth iron. And I thank you that not only have you sharpened me, I hope that I can sharpen you and we can sharpen each other and continue to walk this walk. And no matter what the enemy tries to bring in one way, he has to scatter seven. So I always love that scripture, but I just want you to continue to be encouraged and continue to fight and continue to be the warrior that you are, within God and in this world with the anointing that you have. So I just encourage you, and I just thank you so much for even taking the time out, because I know you've been very tired, for taking the time out even tonight to be here. Because I told you, I said, you don't have to come. We can reschedule. And you're like, nope, I'm coming. So I thank you. And I know that nope. I know that no, I got to go, because that's when you have a calling and it's like, it's bigger than you. So sometimes we have to push, regardless of how we feel and regardless of what we're looking at, we have to push forward. So I thank you for that. And I just thank you for just you being yourself.
Well, I appreciate you. Like I said, I'm humbled to be able to sit at the master's table and That's talk right. to you. You know what I'm saying? So
it's good. He is so good. But this ain't our first time, our last time, because we're gonna do it again. You have your podcast next. But yeah, but it's been so great talking to you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And please tell your assistant that I said hello, because she's so sweet. Okay. You have a great team. Well, since you don't have anything else to say, I guess this will wrap it up for another episode of Our Scars Speak. Once again, everyone, our scars, our mental and our physical scars, they speak a story. They speak a story that we should share, because it can help someone else get through their wounds. It can heal the wounds of another person. So I don't know when you're supposed to share your story, but please, when you feel that it's time and God is leading you, or whomever you serve is leading you to share your story, please do so, because I promise you there's someone out there who actually has a wound or some scars that they've been looking at and they have not gotten over, which I don't think we always necessarily get over, but they're having a difficult time with what they're seeing. And your story could be the very story that they need to hear in order to get them through physically and mentally. So don't forget to share your story, and our scars speak. Our mental and physical scars speak to the wounds of another to heal. And that'll be it for tonight. I love you guys, and see you next week. Bye.
Bye.